What is up, YouTube? I'm back again early. I shot my last episode covering week 7 of Startup School 2019 about an hour or so ago. But I had like a little follow-up that I wanted to do about my personal progress with my app Money Phone here during Startup School. And it actually has nothing to do with the group meetups that we do every week. So today we're gonna fast forward, or we're gonna rewind real quick to before the nightly or the weekly group session or whatever. Sorry, I'm kind of misspeaking here. So I was at work. I work kind of at night. It was, I don't know, 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And I only have like a couple users. And one of my users, she sent me a text message of her using the latest update that I released to my app. It was like a major rewrite. It took me like a month or two to complete. I think it's a lot better now. But anyway, she sends me this screenshot of the app, or it might have been a video recording, and it was this spinner wheel. You know, like the pinwheel on Mac or whatever. But it was, you know, it was a spinner that that I put into my app. And what she was trying to do was she was trying to add a new credit card or bank account to the app. And she got this little modal dialogue pop up in the spinner wheel that never went away. And I was like, oh no, my thing is broken. So I immediately tried to reproduce the bug on my own personal phone. And so I logged into the app and I went and I was like, well, I'm just going to, I already have all of my accounts added. I'm just going to try and add one again. So I go in, I add a new bank account, or I added an old bank account, but I used the same linkage button or whatnot, and it worked. And I did discover a new sort of quasi-bug that if you link your bank account twice in my app, it will show your data twice. I was under the assumption that if you did that, the bank would invalidate the old access token that you get from Plaid. Plaid is the API that I use to get financial data in my app. So if you're an app developer and you want to build an app that hooks into people's bank accounts, you can use Plaid. Anyway, I was not able to reproduce the bug that she encountered. I use Android, she uses Android, however I'm using a less popular, the Moto. I think it's kind of popular, but it's not the most popular. She uses a Samsung. I know that YC is really big about talking to your users. And I feel like I don't have any users, but it's not totally true. I have like a couple users. I actually didn't think the couple users that I have were really using the app, but apparently my friend, she actually maybe is kind of using the app once in a while. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Okay, anyway, I use a Moto, she uses a Samsung. And then I want to kind of add on to that. She also tried another app of mine that I released in the past. I have an app, it's called RoboStop. It's a telemarketer call blocking app that I built for myself. And it is a native app, so it's only available on Android. And it was like kind of semi-successful. It peaked at about 9,000 active installs before Google kind of killed it. And we got pushed off of the Play Store because of some policy changes that they made. That's kind of irrelevant, like what the whole story behind that app. But I remember with that app, sometimes I would get emails from people and they would complain and say, hey, the app doesn't work on my phone or whatnot. And it was hard for me to test. You know, I really just have this one phone. I guess you can kind of use an emulator or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know how great the emulators are and whatnot. Maybe that's where I'm messing up. Maybe I should be using an emulator. But that's not the point of this little vlog post or whatnot. Anyway, my friend, she downloaded RoboStop, and I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna be impressed. It's gonna, you know, I was like, hey, I'll demo it for you, and I called her from this phone. It was gonna block. It did not work. I was like, oh no. I've kind of abandoned that app. It's still available for download at robostop.org. That's how she was able to try it out. So it's not on the Play Store anymore. But this is kind of a pattern that I'm seeing. I have this app. It works on my phone. Doesn't work on Samsung. I don't know what the deal is. I know Samsung is probably the most popular maker of Android phones. I know there's the Pixel now from Google, which I imagine, maybe one day might overtake. Like if I was going to go out and pay big money for an Android phone, I'd probably buy a Pixel. But I don't think that is the number one Android phone. I imagine that Samsung is probably the largest manufacturer of Android phones. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not actually fact-checking this, but that seems like they probably are. So this is what I'm doing. In the spirit of Y Combinator and talking to users, I'm going to listen to the feedback that I got from my, one of my few users. As I mentioned in my previous post, the feedback I've been getting from other startups at startup school, not so valuable. However, maybe that screenshot that my friend sent me of the app not working on Samsung, and when she tried to demo my old app and it not working on Samsung, maybe that's huge, as our president would say. That could be like a big deal, and maybe at first it didn't seem like a big deal, but maybe that actually is, maybe that'll end up proving to be invaluable feedback from talking to my users. So this is what I'm doing. I think I need like a little bit of a mini device lab. Where is my... Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm shooting on my iPhone. So I've got my Android phone here. I have another cheaper Android phone that's not so good for testing because it's running Android 4, which is KitKat 4.4, and they're on like Android 9 now. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm getting started with the device lab. I don't want to spend a fortune, so I'm buying the cheapest Samsung, I think it's called the Samsung A10e that's out. Or maybe this is the Samsung A10. It looks like it's running Android 9. It's running Pi. So it's like fairly new. It's on Amazon. It's $128. So I'm making an investment here, and this is totally based on talking to users, that maybe I need a little device lab, and when I'm building my app, I need to test it on multiple devices. Hopefully for now, when I'm doing iOS, since iOS is pretty standardized, it's one company making it, hopefully my single Android or iPhone 6s will suffice. But I'm making my first investment in a device like lab in purchasing this Samsung phone. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it will greatly increase the quality of the products that I'm making, but here we go. I haven't hit order yet. So, boom, order placed. So I don't like throwing my money around willy-nilly. I guess that's partly why I made this app, Money Phone. It's a personal finance app to keep you from throwing your money around willy-nilly. However, I'm looking at this as an investment. So I made an investment, $130 in the beginnings of my little miniature device lab. I don't know if it's going to give me an edge. I haven't really ever heard anybody talk about that. I listen to all kinds of startup podcasts. Like I'm listening to Masters of Scale right now. I listen to tons and tons of startup podcasts. I haven't really heard anybody mention that. The need to have like a device lab to test stuff on devices. But it seems to be a recurring problem that I have run into, that the app will work on whatever device I'm developing on, and then it doesn't work on other people's. And who knows? My telemarketing app peaked at 9,000 users, or active installs. I'm not sure how many of those people were active users. I gotta think that it was in the thousands, though. So yeah, maybe that app would have been even more successful had I had this mini device lab. So that's, I guess, my epiphany. that I've had here during startup school from talking to my users is this. I'm starting my own little device lab here. Maybe this, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll install the app on the Samsung phone and it'll act just like my Moto phone and I won't gain any insights. But if I do end up gaining some insights, maybe it was worth the $130 that I spent. I don't want to go too crazy and buy like the most high-end, like she uses the Galaxy Note, which I think is like $600 or something. Anyway, that's what I got for this sort of follow-up episode about week 7. I'm starting this little mini device lab and we'll see how it goes. So, catch you guys next week.